Good day, my attentive students at home. My name is Adegbitoluwa Yomidayo. I'm a literature teacher. Today we are going to be discussing what literature is all about. That is a brief background of literature. In the course of today's lesson, we are going to do the following. What is literature? What are the three genres of literature? What are literary terms? What are the terms that are peculiar to the three genres of literature? Meaning that at the end of today's lesson, the students will be able to do the following. Number one, define literature. Number two, list the three genres of literature. Number three, list the literary terms. Number four, analyze the elements of the three genres of literature. Now, to start with, what is literature? Literature is a work of art that deals with life experiences in the past, present, and future. It can also be defined as a mirror of life because it deals with life experiences. This is the more reason why it can be regarded as a reflection of the happenings in the society and world at large. In essence, literature is very important in everyday life because it connects individuals with larger truths and ideas in a society. Literature creates a way for people to record their thoughts and experiences in a way that is accessible to others through fictionalized accounts of the experience. It can be fiction or non-fiction, that is true or untrue. However, there are three genres or aspects or parts of literature, and they are poetry, drama, and prose. Now, number one, poetry. This is an aspect of literature written in short lines to form stanzas or verses. It can also be in form of a song. A poem can be chanted and also sung as a song. The person who writes a poem is known as a poet. Example of a poem is The Leader and the Led by Niyi Oshundari. Then number two, drama. This is usually written in form of a dialogue, that is conversation between two or more people. It is a play written to be watched by the audience. The people that act plays are called actors and actresses. Example of a play is The Lion and the Jewel by Wole Soyinka. Then number three, prose. This is a work of art written in paragraphs to form chapters. It is also known as novels. It usually tells stories about the past, present, and future of life experiences in the society. The person who writes novel is known as the author or novelist. Example is The Second Class Citizen by Buchi Emechita. Now, we try to look at the importance of literature. Number one, it is educative. Number two, it is a form of entertainment. Number three, it teaches morals. Number four, it corrects the bad practices of the society. That is, it criticizes the ills of the society. Number five, it teaches about life experiences. Then number six, literature creates a way for people to record their thoughts and experiences in a way that is accessible to others through the fictionalized account of the experience. Now, we look at the aspect of literary terms. What are literary terms? Literary terms refers to the technique, style, and formatting used by writers and speakers to masterfully emphasize, embellish, or strengthen their composition. It also includes powerful figurative language that writers use in their writing. These terms applies to the three genres of literature, that is poetry, drama, and prose. Some of these terms are: number one, theme, that is the message. Number two, plot structure. Number three, setting. Number four, diction, that is language. Number five, figures of speech. Number six, tragic flaw. Number seven, climax or anticlimax. Number eight, tragedy. Number nine, satire. Number 10, setting. Number 11, flashback. Number 12, suspense. Now, number one, theme and message. It is also known as the message or central idea in the work of art. It is a very important element in any work of art. The number two, plot structure. The plot structure, this is the sequential arrangement of events. That is how one event leads to the other in the order of a preference. The structure of the novel depends on the organization of events in the plot of the story. I will stop here while we go on a short break. Thank you. Don't go away. You are welcome back to the next segment of today's lesson. Now we continue with the literary terms. The third term is the setting. It refers to geographical location of the story, time, period, daily lifestyle of the characters, and climate of the story. In a novel, the setting plays an important role. Then number 4, tragic flaw. This is also known as hubris. This is a weakness in an hero or heroine that leads to his or her downfall. Number 5, climax. The peak of a story, that is, the real message is revealed, meaning the highest point of the conflict in the story or play. E.g., in Lion and the Jewel by Wole Soyinka, the climax, that is the peak, is when Baroka is able to achieve his aim by getting Sidi into his bed. Number 6, anticlimax. This refers to a sudden fall from a high point of success to a low point of failure in a play or story. It is the opposite of climax and also known as bathos. Number 7, satire. This is a work of art written to criticize the government or the ills, that is, bad practices of the society. E.g., Harvest of Corruption by Frank Ogodo. Number 8, diction. This is also known as the choice of words of the writer. It has to do with the language used in bringing out the message. Number 9, tragedy. This is when a story that started with a good note but ends on a sad note as a result of death of the principal or the main actor. The atmosphere of the tragedy is usually serious and sorrowful. Number 10, suspense. The curiosity arose in the reader or audience to know the next line of action when something terrible happened is known as suspense. The audience is held in suspense when their minds are held in a state of expectancy after horrible incident. The overall effect of suspense is that the interest is heightened and the emotion raised as the readers are anxious to know the result of an action. Number 11, flashback. A flashback is when an occurrence in the past is brought up to explain a present event. A writer uses this literary device, that is flashback, to help readers better understand the present day elements in the story or learn more about ongoing events. Flashback also add tension and help advance the plot. E.g., in Lonely Days by Bayo Adebowale, the author used flashback to tell us about the death of Ajumobi in the storyline. Then the next one, the figures of speech. Figures of speech are some of the devices of language that a poet uses. These figures of speech are not limited to poetry alone. They are also part and parcel of the language we speak every day, but are mostly used by the poets. Figures of speech are used in order to create images or pictures, lay emphasis on certain events, and decorate or exaggerate something. There are various kinds of figures of speech, and they are: number 1, simile; number 2, metaphor; 3, personification; antithesis, euphemism, irony, paradox, exaggeration, sarcasm, apostrophe, rhetorical question, oxymoron, synodic, and so on. Because of time today, we will not be able to discuss all the figures of speech one after the other. Then we'll stop here where we continue in the next segment. Please don't go away. Thank you. You are welcome back to this segment. We continue by listing out the elements of drama. And they are: number 1, diction, that is language; number 2, theme, the message; number 3, plot structure; number 4, character, that is actors and actresses; number 5, the setting. Number 6, point of view. Number 7, literary devices. Number 8, conflicts. Number 9, foreshadowing. Then number 10, dramatic irony. Now, in order not to repeat the literary terms that I've discussed earlier, I will only discuss the conflict and foreshadowing that is not explained earlier. Conflict, be it a short story, drama, or novel, conflict is the essential element of these literary terms. A plot becomes interesting and intriguing when it has its share of inbuilt conflicts and twists. Conflict can be internal or external. It does not necessarily mean fight or quarrel. It goes beyond the ordinary definition. For instance, in Soyinka's Lion and Ijue, there is a conflict between Lakunle and the tradition of Ilujinle, which Lakunle, regarded as barbaric. Another conflict is the physical combat between the Bale, Baroka, and the wrestler. Now, the next one, foreshadowing. This is another important element of literature that is applied as hints or clues to suggest what will happen later in the story. It creates suspense and encourages the reader to go on and find out more about the event that is being foreshadowed. Foreshadowing is used to make a narrative more authentic. Now, we go on to the elements of poetry, or the features of poetry, which are: number 1, stanza or verses. Number 2, meter. Number 3, rhyme scheme. Number 4, we have the theme and message. Number 5, we have the plot structure. Number 6, we have the rhythm. And number 7, we have imagery. Number 8, we have the mood and tone. Then number 9, we have free verse. Number 10, we have enjambment. And 11, the figures of speech. These are the elements of the poetry. Now, we will go over to look at the types of poems. There are various types of poems. Which are: number 1, we have lyrics. Number 2, we have ode. Number 3, we have epic. Number 4, we have ballad. Number 5, we have sonnets. Number 6, we have idyll. Number 7, we have elegy. Number 8, we have dirge. Then number 9, we have dramatic or descriptive poem. Number 10, we have narrative poem. We have 11, lullaby, didactic poem, pastoral poem, epitaph, satirical or humorous poem. Then number 16, anthology, and so many others. Now, I will only discuss very few of these types of poem. The number 1, the lyrics. These are short musical poems that can be sung as a song. They are quite simple and straightforward. Then the second type of poem is ode. It is a poem of praise directed to an object or a person. It is unique in nature because it deals with appreciating natural phenomena, e.g., Ode to a Grecian Horn by John Keats. Another one by the same poet is Ode to a Nightingale. Then the third type of poem is epic. It is a long, elaborate narrative poem which deals with an heroic event in the past. It is usually about historic events, e.g., the ancient Greek Odyssey and Iliad. Now, I will just stop there to just mention briefly those 3 types of poems. Now, in the summary of today's lesson, we have been able to do the following. We have been able to know what literature is. We have discussed the 3 genres of literature, that is poetry, drama, and prose. We have looked at the importance of literature. We have looked at what literary terms means. Then we give examples of some of the literary terms, that is general one that applies to the 3 genres of literature. Then the elements of the 3 genres of literature. I hope you have been able to gain a lot from today's lesson. Thank you very much. See you some other time. Keep safe.